Hello friend, this video, honestly speaking, is very important. The reason is, when I started working on this particular topic, it was very confusing to me. In fact, it took a good amount of time for me to figure out what exactly that goes on behind the scene. Okay, let me tell you what I'm talking about. Well, this is my PostgreSQL and I have a table called category where currently following records are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exactly 5 records are there, right? So I want to see these records where? In my, you might be wondering, in my template? The answer is no, rather in the Postman. How is that possible? Well, if you want to see the data in the Postman, it can be possible with the help of Django Rest Framework, DRF. So you need to have REST API endpoint, and that is very beautiful, very nice in context to Django. I will show you that. What I want is, I want to perform both getting data as well as storing data. That means store will be with the help of Post API and get will be with the help of well, getting data means we are giving a call to get API. Okay, that's how the thing is going to work. But in between there are a little bit of puzzles which we need to solve. Okay, so let's start with the application. So let me open my Visual Studio Code and let me show you my base URL. Here it is. I have a base URL called category, and that's the reason why in my Postman, let me bring you to the Post API endpoint. So as you can see over here, I have written category, then /API/create. So for that reason, this is my the base URL. So let's go to my app, and inside the app I have a category, and inside the category I have got URLs. So over there I have got API/create, and that's exactly what you saw, category/API/create. And over here you are supposed to give a data in the form of JSON. So you are going to write the data in the form of a JSON, and which will have a key value pair. So let me show you now what I'm going to do. So let me write a new data over here like Angular, which is one of my favorite. Angular, suppose 19. Okay. Now what you are seeing over here, you are seeing the data in the form of a JSON, right? As you can see over here, it's been shown in the JSON. But what if somebody mistakenly provide a blank space at the beginning, or provide a multiple blank space, or at the end there is a blank space? Do you think it's a valid input? Of course not. In that case, how exactly the system will behave? Let me show you that. Let me click on the send button, and as I do that, immediately you get a bad response. What is the response? It says that the name must contain only alphabet or alphanumeric words, not the extra blank space. Okay, let me remove the extra blank space at the beginning as well as from the end, and let me hit the enter again. Still it is showing the same error. Why? Because there is a multiple blank space over here. So if I give one, okay, let me add one more, let's see what it happens. Then also it's going to give me the same error, bad request, very bad request. And now if I give only one blank space, how about this? Bingo, the data gets saved, and it is ID number 9 and it is Angular 19. Let's come over here, let's reload, and the data comes over here. So far so good, isn't it? But you know what, behind the scene, how exactly it worked? Because you are sending data in the JSON format. So where is this data going? Who is receiving the data? And finally, how this data is coming to the PostgreSQL? All these puzzles, we need to solve it. Okay, so let's come to my Django now. So I saw already the base API, base URL, and now we're in the app URL. So we are right now over here, and let me show you one more thing, that I have got the API for display also, API/show, and look over here, both are giving call to the same method. That means I have got only one method within which I have two different part, one for creation, one for show. Don't worry, I will show you. So when already I have got a show API, so why not I give a call to the show API as well? So let me minimize this so we can see the background. Let me run the code once again, and here we have got how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rows are there. So let's come over here and let me run the code. This is something what you were seeing before. Let's click the send button once again, and this time you are going to see all the 6 rows. starting with DBMS, website design, iOS, Java, web front-end development, and Angular 19, which I've just now given, and the response is 200. Okay, so you are getting the data in the form of an array, and that array containing multiple objects, and the object having a key value pair. One of the keys ID, the other one is name. So here also you're getting the data in the form of JSON. But you know what? In Postgres, the data is in the form of SQL. So there are multiple things that are involved over here, right? SQL means tuples from tuple, how exactly it became a JSON object. This is something what we need to solve now, and that brings us to something called our Django. So let's come to our method. So save underscore category, and we already saw one thing, that there was a validation part. So how did that validation also happen? So let me click on this, and that takes me to the view.py, and let's try to explore the view.py very minutely to understand what is happening right over here. Let me make it small so that we can see it very clearly. Now look over here, something which you need to understand, and this is a very big interview question, that how exactly the data is happening. Well, the data came from Postman. It is not a template. So for that reason, we have to use Django Rest Framework, DRF, and that's the reason why we have to give a call to the decorator at the app view. So over here, your Postman is working like a view. When DRF was not there, then HTML was working as a view, but in this, I mean the template, but over here now your Postman is going to work as a view. So it's an API view is the decorator that you're going to call, and in the same decorator I'm passing an array that has got multiple string. One is called get, one is called post, and this is coming from REST framework and .decorator. So inside this I have given multiple HTTP requests. As I said that there were only one function which has been called by two different endpoints. One is for create, one is for show. So how exactly the discrimination is taking place? Because create means inserting record and show means extracting record from the table. Don't worry, I will make you understand. So whatever input you have given for the Postman, once the data comes to this function, from this function the data actually reaches to this argument called request. So within the argument request, your actual data is been shown. That means the input which you have given in context to post, this was the input which you have given. So this entire input, well, right now you have just got only one key, but be sure you can have multiple keys. It doesn't matter, and all the keys will be getting saved inside the request parameter. So request parameter is capable of storing multiple data in the form of a key value pair, right? Okay, now I have to discriminate what type of HTTP request is that. Is it a get or is it a post? So first time when I run the code, it was a post request, because initially in the table there will be no record, so I need to insert the record. Thereafter I can go for the get request. So for that reason I'm giving a call to the request method, and it is a post. Remember, it is coming all from the decorator that is present inside the rest underscore framework dot decorator. I will tell you guys, those who are watching my video, please write down these packages and module, because this is very important for the interview purpose. And if you can tell this path, this package followed by the module name, it creates a very good impact in the mind of the technical HR. So for that reason, to take down this path, okay. So request was a method was a post, because as you saw over here I gave a post request, and this one was a get request. So you have to choose the respective HTTP request. So this condition became true. Now what we are doing, this is the place where actually interesting things comes up. Be very careful. So when you are sending data from Postman, remember your incoming data that is going to Django via Postman, it is in the form of JSON. I repeat, you have given the input in Postman, or I can say that the Postman is now your front-end interface, and this input is coming from Postman in the form of an object, and that is JSON format. As you can see, it's showing JSON format. So the JSON format data, or JSON, is been forwarded to the backend Python Django. So when Django receives the data, it is in the form of JSON. But Django need to convert this JSON into a meaningful form so that Python can understand. And for that reason, it need to convert the JSON to dictionary. So the first stage is the incoming data, which is in the form of a JSON, need to be converted into Python dictionary, because dictionary also has got key value pair, and that is what going to be done by the serializer. Well, I have created a model serializer. Okay, let me open this particular file. This is a serializer which I have created. You can also create a new file by the name called serializer.py, and inside that, for a respective model, you will be creating a respective serializer. So as you can see right over here, since we are working on the category app, Remember, this is the category app which I'm showing you because we are inside the category underscore app. So this serializer is specifically for the category app. So what we are doing over here is we are creating a class, and this class is inheriting from the model serializer, and that is coming from the REST framework once again. See, just few minutes ago we just saw the decorator that is coming under the REST framework decorator, and now we are seeing the serializer. So please take a very minute note that when you're working with the DRF, you need to make use of serializer, because the incoming data from the front end, that is your Postman, would be in the form of a JSON, and that JSON goes to the backend. So backend will receive the data in the form of JSON. It need to convert the JSON to Python dictionary, and that will be done by the serializer. The serializer, what type of serializer I'm going to use? This is a model serializer. Well, we will be also having something called hyperlink model serializer. In the upcoming video I will be talking about that. In fact, I have a plan to demonstrate how exactly model serializer, the hyperlink model serializer works. So right now your serializer is inheriting the base class, that is the serializer coming from the REST framework, which is the model serializer, because you are working on a particular model. So inside the meta class, which is it's the data about data, here you have mentioned the name of the class or the name of the model which is specifically going to work in the serializer. So class meta is going to involve two things. One is the name of the model, and at the same time it also talks about the attribute that the model will be working on. And as you can see over here in my Postgres, there are two attribute, ID and name. That's the reason over here I have mentioned in the form of a list ID and name. So that means when the data is coming, the incoming data which was in the form of a JSON goes to the serializer. Serializer forward the data to the particular meta class, and it will be converted into dictionary. Right after this, I believe it is good enough. Now what happens? Well, inside this meta class I also have got, inside the serializer I also have got a function called validate underscore name. Well, keep it in mind, you can perform validation within the help of model serializer, but there is one condition, that is you have to use the term validate underscore after that the name of the attribute. Since I have an attribute called name, that's the reason I have written over here name. So it depends upon you what would be the attribute name. According to that you have to put the name over here. So validate underscore name is the function name, and if you are giving this call, it will be called automatically. You don't have to call validate underscore name anywhere. If you look over here, I didn't call validate underscore name. So how exactly it will come in picture, I will talk about that. But look over here what I'm doing. So I have given a call to the attribute name was name, so I have written validate underscore name. Now this will be called via this statement. So over here the conversion of the JSON to Python dictionary has been done, and now I'm forwarding that dictionary to a function called isValidate. So that data will come right over here, and here I'm checking the length. First I'm checking the length. If it is less than 3 characters, it will give me an error. Well, let me show you that. Suppose I am writing this line. Suppose I wrote I'm writing over here React, but I just wrote initial RE. Well, this is not a correct statement because it has to be minimum. If it is less than 3, then it will be 2. Less than 3, in that case give name at least 3 characters. That will come in picture. Let me click on this, and you will see the message, yes, give the name at least 3 long character. So that means when you are giving a call to this particular method isValidate, it is coming right over here and it is doing the validation one after the other. So the first validation I did is about the length of the input that you are giving, and the second validation which I did was making use of regular expression RE, that is coming right from here, which is by default a package inside the Python, that is regular expression. So here what I'm doing is that I'm telling that the string should have at least one word that can contain alphabet in uppercase, alphabet in lowercase, and it can be numbers also. That can be one valid string, and it can have a blank space. It can also have a blank space, and this part is optional. So that means I can have a multiple word, just like the way I inserted Angular -19 space 19. That is fine. I have inserted web space front end space document development. That is also fine. So there can be multiple word, but the condition is that there should be one space in between these two words. Other than that, it's not allowed. Or you can just have a single word that can also have a number. That is also fine. So let me show you this. Only RE is not allowed, but if I can say RE React, okay, React, and suppose I put some version over here like React, suppose 15, I'm putting a version React 15. If I put this, believe it's fine because it has got alphabet, it's got the numbers, and it is just one single word. So the starting condition is true. So in that case, the validation will not fail. So serializer to validation error. So from the serializer class of REST framework, we are getting this validation, which is very handy. So let me click on this, and it got successfully, and we got the ID over here. So if you're giving a single word, that word having a like alphabet, numbers, it doesn't matter. But if you're going for multiple word, there should be exactly one space. So if the condition is true, in that case, a value is returned. So the value comes back to again to the view, and now we are going to save the data. And this is where the last most important thing comes in picture. Remember, Serializer was working on the dictionary, but I cannot store the data in the form of dictionary because it is going to be saved inside your PostgreSQL. As I reload the tab 19, React 15 will come and get stored over here, right? So your Serializer was having the data in the form of a Python dictionary, but I cannot store the dictionary right exactly inside the Postgres. So the dictionary now need to be converted. I know series of conversion going on, now need to be converted into SQL. Exactly. So serializer.save will do what? It will convert your dictionary into SQL format so that it can be inserted, and the SQL format, which I've already shown in my last video about the ORM. So ORM is responsible over here, which is converting your dictionary into the insert query, and finally the data is getting saved in the Postgres. And eventually what happened, you're getting a response, you're getting the response back. So serializer the data is going to show you this object, and the status is 200. That's what you were saying. But if anything goes wrong, then we are getting serializer error that coming from the serializer right over here, the error that is coming up, and you're getting the response in the form of a 400. That means the resource was not valid. That's how exactly the insertion took place. I know it was pretty confusing, but let me just bind up once again. Initially the data was submitted through Postman in the form of a JSON. That data is going to the Python in the form of a dictionary. Python sends the data, the incoming data which was in the JSON format goes to Serialize in the form of a dictionary, and finally dictionary will then be converted into an insert query. That's how the data will be stored inside your PostgreSQL, right? But when you're going for the GET request thing, is just the reverse, because this time you're getting the data from the table. So the moment I will click on this, and this time see even the React also comes in picture, what is happening over here? Well, Category.objects.all, we know that this is called by the mapper, that is the ORM is coming in picture, which I have shown in my last video, and I showed you that the ORM will pick up all the data from the table and it will generate a query set. So category is actually the query set, which Python has got no clue. It will not understand what the hell this query set is. So you need to convert the query set into a particular dictionary format so that I can view it, I can work on Python. So Category.serializer is again coming in picture. The Category.serializer is this time doing a reverse process, that is the incoming data is a query set, and it is going to convert the data into Python dictionary. And there will be multiple instances, as you can see right over here. There are multiple instances are there. That's the reason many equals to true is given, because there will be multiple tuples. So this is going to provide us the data in the form of Python dictionary. But that data is now going to be forwarded to the front end, that is a Postman, and Postman cannot work on Python dictionary, so I need to get the data in the form of a JSON. So what Serializer now is going to do is that it will convert the Python dictionary into JSON format so that it is revealed in the Postman. Okay, so it's just a reverse order. The query set has been generated at first from the Postgres. That query set is forwarded to the Serializer, which actually creates the dictionary, and that dictionary is again converted into JSON format, which has been redirected as a result. See, response, whatever response is this is coming from the REST framework. So this response will be in the form of a JSON, and finally I can see the JSON data in the Postman, and the HTTP request has been successfully generated. That's the reason we are seeing the HTTP status is 200. Oh my god, it has been a pretty long and pretty fast video, right? So please go through this particular video again and again to understand how exactly this particular serialization and deserialization process is working on. Okay, so in the post it was serialization, and finally in the get it was really a deserialization process. So I hope you understood, and this is a very important part, and I was dealing with the get and post. In my upcoming days I will be working on other HTTP requests as well, and I'm sure if you just follow this video, definitely this is going to work a lot. Okay, so that's all from this video presentation. See you soon. Bye bye, take care, good night.